he and I are both insatiable hedonists, and that's one of the many reasons why we love each other so much.
That helps. Yes, that definitely helps.
And this is personal. You don't have to tell me that, but when we talk about the anal before, and you're giving your givers, I didn't know if you meant like when you're teaching it or that you were putting a strap on to peg. Is that in
Both.
your both? Okay.
Yes. I peg, I finger, I fist, I do anything related to anal and prostate stimulation, and I am very good at it.
Well,
wait, let me see your fist once.
I don't doubt for a minute.
So one of my other lovers literally wrote the book on prostate stimulation. Charlie Glickman wrote The Ultimate Guide to Prostate Pleasure, and I was taught very well how to wield a strap on, how to stimulate the prostate, and it's so much fun. And I fisted my first ass at a clown orgy at AVN in Vegas.
Welcome, fellow lushes. Come on in, pull up a bar stool, and enjoy some cocktails with Dimples and the Beard.
There once was a man from Nantucket. His dick was so long he could suck it. He said with a grin as he wiped off his chin, "If my ear were a pussy, I'd fuck it." Welcome back now.
I did that in we had a meeting probably about a month ago. A bunch of people around, and somebody said something kind of rhyming. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
And everybody was ha ha ha. And then it came to me, and I said, well, since we have to rhyme,
there once
it's something like, hey, top that, Kevin, when it comes to you. And I said, well, there once was a man from Nantucket. And and I just, never mind.
So does everybody know there once was a man from Nantucket? Is that
I think a lot do. I don't know that everybody does.
There was other ones too, but I can't remember them. That's the only one I can remember. Dirty limericks were all the rage for a while. There was dirty limerick books.
The rage.
Do you remember the dirty limerick books?
Yeah, they were big for a while.
Yeah. Now I bet nobody's written a limerick in 20 years.
You don't think there's some people out there keeping it alive?
Nope.
Okay. Well,
prove me wrong.
I bet you I could find
a dozen limericks
that have been produced and written in the last couple of years.
I bet if we had found our way to Ireland, we would have heard some limericks.
Heck yeah.
Let me rephrase. I bet there hasn't been a limerick written in the United States in the past 20 years. There's certainly been limericks written in
Ireland. They wrote the limericks with their harp.
They write the limericks that make the whole world sing.
So we never did with that bet yesterday, but
I won.
You did win because but that was pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, you nailed it dead on, and then you misjudged yourself, or you missed.
Yeah, I'm like, it's got to be more. Well, I didn't really increase it that much. I could have just kept it. Oh well.
I think we said you have to take a big fat pull off, Rafa.
Well, that's what you did say, didn't you?
Yeah.
But there's nothing.
But there's only
nothing in there, nothing to pull off of.
Yeah, well, there's nasty burnt up shit in there.
I guess that could have been the. That could have been the.
That would have been. We could have even started this episode with this.
Oh yeah, she's all into it. Well, get your pen. Show him.
Oh no, I'll save that for when she's on. I wish I would have brought some flour because we could have.
That guy is funny. I do like that guy.
How do you talk with a face in your mouth?
Well, I think we talk with a dick in your mouth.
That's how I talk with a dick in my mouth, because I don't take no little ones like yours.
But with mine, you can talk.
Welcome back to another episode of Cocktails with Dimples in the Beard. You're welcome to Sex Ed.
It's gonna be sex filled.
When did you start sex ed in school?
Open the tavern.
Good idea. We're about to get sex ed. When did you start sex ed?
Tavern.
I have a good sex ed story. The class.
I don't remember sex ed in school.
You taught it.
Oh,
So
girls and boys in the bathroom.
my sex ed, like sophomore year of high school, freshman year of high school, whatever, where they tell you about periods and boners and wet dreams and boobies and buttholes and why. Anyway, we got
Anything else you want to mention?
taints.
Okay.
No, we didn't. I didn't know about taints when I was that young. Taints is a new thing. We got a big old take home test for our sex ed class. It was like a fucking book like this. But my sister, who is older than myself, had already had the same teacher. So I just gave it to her and she did it all. So I didn't even have to take the sex ed test.
You didn't want to? We were afraid you would fail?
I didn't want to take any tests.
Of all the tests of all your years,
all
you think
the tests.
that would have been
But that's
one that you could have.
That's also the teacher who beat me up in school once too. So that's probably why I didn't want to take his test.
Ooh, but I think that's probably what got you into like being beaten now during sexual activities.
Oh, beaten.
Because you remember.
I didn't know where you were going
with
with that, man.
Class.
No,
If a teacher beat you in history,
he didn't beat me up during sex class.
but he taught it.
I know, but I didn't know he taught it. This was before sex ed.
Oh,
And he pulled me out of my art class, if I remember right. And I did not turn into an artist. I mean, unless you consider podcasting an art. In that case, I did not turn into an artist.
I disagree. Let's go get your painting that's sitting right over there and show everybody again how great of an artist.
No.
Okay.
Thought we were going to auction those off.
I'm gonna do something. They just keep sitting there.
I know. We should really try and auction them off. Nope. Auction them.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm sure
they
we
would
can
cover too much room here.
Right. Exactly. I'm sure we can get at least 12 cents a piece.
There you go. We'll put it on the Etsy store coming soon to a theater near you.
Are you opening in an Etsy store? I think you should go with like, not Etsy. Etsy's for fucking lonely housewives who make goddamn trinkets and shit. We need a sex positive website that we can put some fun sayings on our shirts and like slip it in the back door with cocktails with dimples in the beard, something like that. You know what I mean? That's a rough draft right there, but
give these
no, I wouldn't do that. That's
golden ideas out there.
That one's dumb, but you know,
there are no dumb ideas.
There are dumb ideas. There are no dumb,
just dumb people that suggest them.
No, there are dumb ideas, but that's okay. You put them out there and then the smart people shoot them down and then they come up with dumb ideas, but it's okay.
For every dumb idea to someone is a brilliant idea to another.
That's true. I think what you're saying, without saying it, is one man's trash is another man's treasure. So
same.
No matter how hot she is, somebody's sick of putting up with her shit. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, they all are in that same circle of philosophy.
No matter how big his dick is, somebody's sick of putting up with his ego.
Because he's a big dick.
Right. You know that if you're walking around with a fucking floppa,
a hog,
that your ego is. Oh, I was watching your mom's house this morning, and
you went from big cock to I was watching your mom. Wait, what?
They had the doctor who does there is now surgery, or they're not surgery. There's now dick fillers for girth.
Yep.
And they're in Chicago.
So when is your appointment?
I'm going to look into it.
When are you going?
I don't know. I want to look into it and see how much it would cost, because they say like to add like every round that you do of it adds a quarter inch of girth. You can't add any length. This is filler.
Makes sense.
So it goes down the two shafts down each side. They inject, depending on the length, 2, maybe 3, probably 5 or 6. They're gonna have to. I have
7, 8.
I have a short fatty. Why did I just say that?
You're describing your cock.
I know. Oh, why did I
describe it any way you want, buddy?
So you get a couple injections.
I just want you to continue to inject
but you can't have sex for 10 days after. But you can do it like every 3.
Now, is it like most of that stuff? Does it lose girth as
They do, yeah, but he said right now they don't really know because it's
new.
But the doctor who does it has had it for like 3 years, and his is still. So it sounds like Mr. Segura
I saw him kind of talking about it.
is going to be filling his dick.
Should go get it.
And Christina had a dude with a dick that's as big around as a liquid death can.
And he's like, what? Really? What?
I know it was. I've never really seen that show get uncomfortable before, but it was oddly uncomfortable for a bit.
Just for a bit, yeah. And I was like, wait, is it serious? Because they do talk about their old sex like a lot.
They do, and he likes to mention a new whore that he's banged
which is healthy.
What is healthy?
To be able to discuss it, not be jealous or
to be able to take a liquid death can up your puss.
Well, no, but
let's ask.
I was going to say
her,
after that,
educator,
how do you feel Tom feels after that? He's like, oh, all these years she's saying you're perfect. Well, yeah, perfect because it's not.
Bigger isn't always better, buddy.
It's not always better.
That's what she says.
No.
Really?
No.
Longer's not always better.
As long as.
And bigger's not always better. Eventually it's going to be law of diminishing returns, but a little bigger's always better. Anyway.
Well, you all think about getting fillers into your penis. Give us a like, subscribe, and leave a comment about the size of your penis.
Is
Share
bigger
with
better?
your friend. Girls, you think bigger is better? Tell us if it is or not. Or is it whoever you're with? They're just perfect.
Sorry for that.
Because that's a great.
I love you just the way you are.
There you go. So there you go. And we better not leave a pretty lady waiting.
So without further ado, we're about to get educated.
We got a lot to discuss tonight.
3 anal tips. Ashley Manta. Hello.
Hi.
How are we doing?
We're good. How are you?
Very good. Very good. Thank you for joining us, Ashley Manta.
My pleasure.
We do a little preview, a little intro before. So we've already got you introduced. They know who you are. They know what you do. So we
want to get down to the nitty gritty of what you do.
Right. We don't want to waste time. You got a lot of education in you.
I do. I do.
We can learn how to give better hand jobs tonight. We can learn how to. So where do we start? How did you get?
How you talk to a pussy? Whisper to it?
It's true.
Yeah.
You saw my new offering, I see.
I did.
We will talk about it.
Before we get started, so you know what we're talking about, you know that we know what we're talking about. I know what's around your neck. And not because I've seen your post. I know that's not a wishbone.
Because I've seen it before.
It's not a wishbone.
I didn't know that until Susan Bratton was on our podcast, but she told me. So
she's great. I'm glad y'all had her on.
She's a lot of fun.
We had a blast, yeah.
So how'd you get involved in sex education?
Pretty much since college, honestly. I was always the awkward one who talked about sex too much. And when I was in college, I started studying sexual violence prevention education. So I worked as a rape crisis counselor, domestic violence crisis counselor. I went out to schools K through 12 to talk about taking care of your body and having boundaries and stranger danger and all the way up to respectful relationships for college students and acquaintance rape and bystander intervention.
Yeah.
And it was really powerful work. And I got to work at the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office as a victim advocate. I worked at Planned Parenthood as a health center assistant. And all of that was amazing. And then I moved to California and I was able to do more of the pleasure-focused sex education. So I worked as a phone sex operator, which equipped me to
stories that we
some impressive dirty talk.
Put in the book.
I was gonna say that explains the book that we can get on dirty talk.
Oh yes.
So when you got involved with all that the rape prevention and everything, I was gonna ask if that was out of like on your campus. Was it happening a lot that it was that you had to feel you get involved? But then you said Philadelphia, so I assumed yes, it is.
I mean, it's on all campuses, honestly. The statistics say 1 in 3 women, 1 in 6 men, and most of that happens in college. So those are pretty staggering statistics. And I personally am a survivor of multiple sexual traumas. So I felt for me that getting involved was a way to kind of really get my hands dirty in my healing process, to feel like I was doing something really proactively to not just take care of myself, but to help prevent it from happening to somebody else.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, great. It's great work. And it's unfortunate we have to have it, but
yeah.
But here we are.
But here we are. But that's made you empowered, and then you must have loved learning everything to continue on.
And absolutely. And so once I got to California, did the phone sex thing for a while. It paid terribly. So I got a job at the Pleasure Chest, which is a really famous sex shop in West Hollywood. And that was when I really started to develop relationships with brands, with sex toy companies, lube companies, adult performers, people that make accessories. And I got to sort of see how the industry works and where there were gaps. And the biggest gap was around cannabis.
Yeah.
And so cannabis I found to be very helpful for me in managing my PTSD symptoms, as well as just making sex more awesome. And I thought, how helpful would it be to have a sex educator with a background in sexual violence prevention who's very focused on consent talk about how to very mindfully incorporate substances into intimacy.
Yeah.
When did the chemist start? In college? High school?
In
or
grad
not
school.
Until after. Okay.
Grad school. I was very anti-campus. I was a dare kid. I was a kid growing up in the 90s. So I thought that all drugs were bad and cannabis was as bad as heroin, as far as I knew.
Yeah.
And it really took like going to grad school, getting my master's degree in philosophy and seeing the professors smoking weed. And I was like, oh, people with PhDs smoke weed. Okay, maybe it's not just like losers in their mom's basements.
Do you remember your first time smoking weed?
Vividly. Yes.
Did you get a little too high or?
I got just the right amount of high. I actually used a gravity bong, one of those like old school homemade like big Folgers container with like a half cut Sprite bottle in it, and took
MacGyver
one
together.
hit. Oh yeah. It was quite very engineered, very delicately engineered. But I laid on a really comfortable love sack and I watched Empire Records, and I was surrounded by people who were like very safe, loving humans, and it was spectacular. And I'm like, oh, this is not as bad as I thought.
Sometimes you got to think, if we just let stoners design the world, like we'd be set. Like, look what they can do with a Folgers can and an apple or
oh yeah.
Right.
They are.
But would everything get done though?
Like, eventually.
Dude, stoners are some of the most productive people I have ever met. Like, all of my friends in the industry are CEOs, business owners, like badasses who smoke as they are like doing Zoom calls and board meetings. My one friend like is a PhD and cleans the house after she smokes, top to bottom, massive house. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I do find that a complete myth. For me, weed treats me how I want to be treated. If I want to be lazy, weed helps me be even more lazy. If I want to be productive, weed helps me be even more productive. When I need to be creative, and I've talked about, I'm not a creative guy, but when I need to be creative and write the summary for one of these episodes and nothing will come to me, take a nice little baby hit, wait 10 minutes, and then I can write the summary. So
the muse descends. It's like magic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So getting cannabis involved in sex then is an obvious, wonderful joining. So.
Yes.
And
more recently, psychedelics.
Right.
Oh wow. Well, that's another chapter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We're constantly growing and changing.
Well, which you have to, don't you? I mean, in your field, there's so much to learn, even at any stage. Can continue to learn. So
we are in the right time frame for all of this, because psychedelics are starting to become more mainstream, and you're starting to see some decriminalization of mushrooms, and so it is a nice time to we're everyday people, and that's, I think, what happened with cannabis is when they started to make gummy bears filled with cannabis, all of a sudden everybody was like, oh, I'll do that. Right.
Well, even there's reports coming out with how it helps.
Yeah.
And stuff. So more and more, which I would imagine, I've read or seen a lot more than I've ever.
Absolutely. There are so many benefits of cannabis and also psychedelics. And I was lucky enough to get to present several years in a row at the Cannabis Nurses Conference. So there's actually, medical professionals who are being trained in cannabis medicine now, which is leaps and bounds from where we've been in the past.
What a cool thing to hear. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
No, I didn't either. That's awesome. So how did that, where's that at when you say that nursing training in that?
It was in San Diego.
Obviously.
California. But there were nurses from all over the country and even some from Canada and Europe. So it's really starting to go big in the medical field, which is really cool to see.
Yeah. Sadly, we're still in a state. We're in Wisconsin, so we have no legality here. So I am not using tonight, I promise. This is just nicotine.
Of course.
But I forgot what I was going to ask now. See? Sometimes that weed also does that.
There you go. So so you got into the cannabis yourself, started enjoying it. Obviously, it seems like love at first puff. So away you go.
Away I go.
And then is your career goals. How did you merge the two to say, I'm going to do this professionally and coin or register your CannaSexual?
Well, in 2015, I went to my first cannabis conference on a scholarship from an organization called Women Grow, which was one of the first women in business in cannabis networking organizations. So they paid for me to go to the conference, which was amazing. And at the conference, I met the editor of leafly.com.
Okay.
And mentioned that I was a sexuality educator who had done some writing and I was interested in sex and cannabis. And he said, do you want to write for us 2 columns a month? And I was like, fuck yes. Are you kidding? They paid spectacularly well.
Nice.
And 2 columns a month became 4 columns a month. And then Dope Magazine reached out and they were like, do you want to write about your life as the CannaSexual, every week? And I'm like, sure. So now I'm writing 8 articles a month.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a full-time job right there.
That picked up steam in a hurry.
Are you still doing that?
No, I haven't done that in years.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I wrote my book in 2019. It was published in 2020, and then the pandemic happened and everything kind of changed. But I do a lot more in-person things, workshops online, and then coaching now.
Yeah,
we'll get into that. But I just want to touch on somebody asked you to write.
Yeah.
If someone asked me to write something, hell no, because I wouldn't be able to do it. Is that part of did you enjoy writing prior? Did you in college take any writing classes, or how did you just say yes?
I got a master's degree in philosophy, so writing was sort of par for the course.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
I've never enjoyed writing, but I am a good writer.
Yeah.
So there's a quote that's like, I don't like writing, but I like to have written. That's very much how I feel about writing.
Yeah,
sure.
And when you're writing about something you love, it must help.
Yeah.
It does, especially when I'm telling stories about like my sexcapades. That makes it a lot more enjoyable.
And that you continue to do.
I do. I just write for myself now. I don't get paid anymore.
Well, for yourself and for people reading it.
Right.
So
absolutely. Really, the payment is in the delightful feedback that I receive when people are like, oh my God, that gave me such a great idea. And I went and tried something with my partner and it was excellent. Love to hear that.
Oh, inspiring the world and everything is better. Are you pretty much a daily weed user?
Not as much these days, honestly.
Okay. Yeah.
When the pandemic happened, I started getting really bad panic attacks, like really bad daily panic attacks. And so that sort of radically changed my relationship with cannabis because a lot of the weed I was smoking was making my paranoia and anxiety worse.
Sure.
So I went from doing, 50 milligram edibles and getting on a plane, smoking multiple times a day to maybe once a day, sometimes only once a week.
Sure.
I do a lot more with topicals these days. And I do a lot like higher CBD cannabis strains.
Okay.
Different forms. Okay.
So mixing cannabis with sex, not just smoking cannabis or eating edibles. There's also, like you're saying, topicals to use on the vagina, on the penis,
in the ass.
Yeah. So what are some of those products and how do they help improve?
Benefit us?
Absolutely. Topicals, I think, are the best place to start for people who are just sort of dipping their toe in the cannabis pool because they're not going to get you high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is, for someone who's like, I don't know what it's like to be high. I have things to do. I can't be high for X number of hours. This is a really very approachable way of trying cannabis. So the way that I started was applying a THC infused oil to my pussy 20 minutes before sexy fun times, letting it marinate, and then finding that sex was less painful, which it actually was for me. It was very painful for most of my life up to that point. And my orgasms were more easily accessible, stronger, and more frequent. And I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And
Okay.
then I found cannabis suppositories, which are also fantastic because they work for everybody. If you have a vulva, you can put them in your pussy. If you have an ass, you can put them in your ass. Usually pretty much everybody has an ass. So
People have too.
some people have too. And those are great for vaginas. If you are at all crampy, if you find that your cervix is getting jostled during sex because you have a rather vigorous and especially endowed partner, or positioning is hitting it, it makes it much more comfortable. It also just like helps to make the tissue more supple and make the sensations feel better. And then for anal, it decreases discomfort without numbing. So it's a win, especially if you have a prostate, because it makes your prostate more sensitive.
So is that what it does to those areas?
Mm-hmm.
It makes it more sensitive. I know I tried the oils once, and I know we didn't let it marinate.
Yeah, we
gotta let it marinate.
So
That's the thing.
was okay. It was apply, go.
Yeah, we got.
Oh yeah, no, that's not how it works.
I was gonna say we got sent that it's from Foria,
Yeah.
their CBD wellness from Susan.
It was almost like sticky.
Yeah.
Well, so the problem with CBD only products is that CBD does not work as well without the presence of THC.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
I used to work with Foria early on when they were still in the THC game. Once they left the THC game, that got a lot less interesting to me because CBD is just not as effective on its own, and any real perceived effects are often placebo. So
yeah,
your mileage may vary, but for the most part, like you're not going to notice a huge difference. And all CBD can do, if anything, is like do a little bit of anti-inflammatory, but THC is a vasodilator. So you're bringing more blood flow in, which is how you increase sensitivity.
What did we get?
It's all CBD. That Foria Wellness we got is all CBD.
All right.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
That would explain it.
What brand of suppositories do you recommend for anal play? Because that sounds like a lot of fun to me.
It's wonderful, like really and truly. In California, because of course,
prostate.
Yay for prostate stimulation! Yay. It's a little bit tricky because obviously you have to get it in the state in which it's manufactured. So you have to come out to California. If you do, Hello Again is the company I would recommend. However, if you get my book, The CBD Solution Sex, I have a recipe for DIY suppositories. And in the book, it's coded as like CBD rich flower because that was what they wanted me to focus on, because that was what the publisher was interested in. But you could use any cannabis flower, or if you have access to a solventless rosin, hash, or any kind of concentrate, that dissolves easily in oil, and you can use that to fill little suppository molds that you can get out of Amazon, and then got it all by yourself.
Do you have your book? You want to pull it up and show us, or no?
Of course. Now I just traveled to LA last weekend, so I'm pretty sure it's still in my suitcase. But it is available on Amazon. It's called the CBD Solution Sex. It's pink. Can't miss it.
You can't miss it. No, you definitely can't miss it. Is it available on your website or only through Amazon? Because we like to, if you have it available on your website, we like to send them there and fuck Amazon. But
I mean, I hear you. You can also get it on the Chronicle Books website, but I don't make any money off the books. It was a work for hire situation. So just get them wherever they're cheapest.
There we go.
In this economy, like, save your money, guys.
Amazon it is. Thank you. I like the permission because now I don't feel bad buying it from Amazon.
Don't feel bad. No, it's cool.
It is what it is. Yeah. Some things are different. Okay.
Do the suppositories help with menstrual cramps as well?
They are a absolute godsend for menstrual cramps, and folks with like endometriosis, PCOS. Like, if you have discomfort in your pelvic regions, suppositories will make you a very happy person. Also great for low back pain.
Really?
Okay.
So if I stick one up my ass, my low back pain will go away?
Exactly.
Let's find out.
I'm game. I like.
I know you.
I like things in my ass already. If
anything
there's
up
another
there.
benefit. I'm down.
He's excited because you talked about the three
anal tips.
So before he jumps out of his seat, maybe we can touch on those.
I'm not going to jump out of my seat. I'm sitting on something.
Yes, I respect that.
I've had it permanently installed in my podcasting chair.
I mean, that's one way to make podcasts more fun.
Right?
Exactly.
Right?
So, so you do talk about anal play and a lot, and your 3 tips for anal.
So yeah, anal, most importantly, like beyond anything else, is you must use lube.
Lots,
you have to. You just have like so much lube. Like if you think you've used enough lube, use more lube. We want to go like Exxon Valdez up in here, okay?
So wait, I've been going no lube as fast as I can. You're telling me that's wrong?
You do you, man.
Well, it's suboptimal. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life.
That's a fancy college word, right? It's suboptimal.
I wouldn't, but I'm not here to tell you you're wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Who are we to tell you to do different if it's working for you?
It's
what
not.
I recommend.
I mean, if you're bleeding a lot and sore, then maybe listen to Ashley.
Slow, super, 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 super slow. Lots of breathing, lots of communication between the giver and the receiver so that you can go at the receiver's pace.
Right.
Especially if you, as the giver, have never received anal stimulation in your life, like you don't know how sensitive it is and how slow you need to go. So like really, really just like millimeter by millimeter. I am not exaggerating. And you have to go in with no agenda. Like sometimes the ass just says no.
Right.
And that's something that you have to be okay with as you are approaching anal play, is that you have 2 sets of sphincter muscles, the internal and the external sphincter. The internal sphincter is not controlled by you. That is fully autonomic nervous system. So that means if you are stressed, scared, worried, any of those things, your fucking internal sphincter is going to be tight as hell. And no amount of like coaxing is necessarily going to get it to open. Like you just have to breathe and be with it and be like, okay, not tonight. Cool. Thanks for letting me know, body.
50 years old and I didn't know that.
I knew that the 2
Jesus Christ.
I knew the 2 of them. I didn't realize that your second were that, which is actually great to hear from, not to hear as a receiver, but as a giver, to accept that, you know, that when they say no, it's not just I don't wanna, it could be a physical thing.
Yeah, I can't.
My body says no.
That's that's great to learn that. And I always say, respect the ass, that's just the bottom line.
The ass. And the receiver calls the shots. Like I tell my receivers all the time, like you get to micromanage your asshole. You say how fast, you say how deep, you say how much lube, you say when you're done, you say if you need more warm up, like all of those things. And then you both do aftercare, because like, let me get like spiritual and woo on you for a second, but the asshole is like root chakra. That's security, stability, safety, all the things. And so when you are penetrating that area, you can kind of, for lack of a better word, shake some shit loose energetically. And that can make you feel really vulnerable during and after. And for the giver to hold the space of making someone feel safe and comfortable is draining. And so we have to like honor that as well and make sure that everybody really gets taken care of and not have this be like a oops, wrong hole situation. Like this is something that takes planning and communication and a lot of thoughtfulness.
So what would you say to,
go ahead,
to someone that says, oh, I just listened to you talk and it seems like all this pre-prep, after care, it seems like a lot of work. Why do I want to try it? What would you suggest or say to them that this is why you would do it?
I mean, I would say if hearing all of that feels like too much work, then like, should you be having sex at all? Like, I hate to break it to you, but like the best sex takes that kind of work and prep and communication.
Amen.
So
not the angle I was going for, but okay.
Sorry. But what's on the other side of it, like why it's worth that work, is the pleasure that it can hold. The connectiveness, the intimacy, the vulnerability in any kind of penetrative sex or any kind of sex broadly. But like when you are letting someone put a thing or their body inside of your body or vice versa, like that is a connective experience that really deepens the bond between 2 people. And it can be casual and that's fine too, but it's really a beautiful opportunity to explore what pleasure can look like in these various areas of your body. And that's something that's really fun to play with.
My angle was like the whole sensation was.
You were trying to get her to say, because you'll love it, ladies. I know you. That's what he was trying to get a quote.
Yes and no. Yes and no. It was more of the pleasure outweighs all all of those things. It's
not necessarily.
Oh,
that's the thing.
Yeah, you're not helping me. Just kidding.
Sorry.
I'm kidding.
Sometimes it does. I was very anal avoidant. I have a workshop called From Anal Avoidant to Butt Slut because for most of my life, I was like, oh no, anal is not fun. Anal is for the giver. Fuck this shit. No. And I discovered that like anal can feel really amazing if you take your time, if somebody really invests in making it a wonderful experience for me as the receiver. And a dear friend of mine, Tristan Taramino, wrote the book, The Ultimate Guide to Anal Sex for Women. And she is like a huge proponent of anal, but even she will acknowledge that like anal doesn't feel awesome for everybody. If you have a super tight pelvic floor, if you feel unsafe, if things aren't quite right, it's not going to feel awesome for you. And so like, don't go in being like, well, if I just get through this, then it'll feel amazing. No. That's not how that works.
Sure.
Yeah. You have to want it.
Yeah.
And I criticize you as a guy who won't take things in his butt to be over there trying to get her. Nah, sorry. I get a little feisty. Do you orgasm from anal? Anal only?
No.
Okay.
But I do squirt from anal, which is interesting. And squirting and orgasm are not the same thing, but you absolutely can stimulate the urethral sponge and the back of the clit through the ass. And the first time I ever squirted like a gush was from anal.
So
now see, that's clippable. That's clippable right there. Do you see what I did there? I'm an expert.
Let's get more into squirting. So
okay.
Is it pee?
Thank you. So I've heard so many things back and forth. Is it pee? Is it not pee? Is it pee?
It is not pee.
Okay.
Exactly. Here's the thing. So squirting and ejaculation are technically two different fluids. Ejaculation comes from the Skene's glands, which are on either side of the vaginal opening next to the urethra. Squirting does come from the bladder through the urethra. However, you can have an empty bladder, like you can pee immediately before sex and still squirt buckets, because what happens is that the bladder will actually fill with fluid when you are extra super excited.
Fluid from where?
From just, ambient. Where does your sweat come from? From your body. Like,
okay.
Right?
Like, it was a specific.
Yeah. No. It's not like the prostate where there's like something that is secreting fluid in that way. That's what the Skene's glands would be closest to, but they're not the same. But it's just fluid. It's ambient fluid from your body being hydrated, and it goes into the urethra. And when pressure is applied to the urethral sponge and around the back of the clit, it can cause fluid to shoot out. For some people, that feels pleasurable. For some people, it is accompanied with an orgasm, but squirting and orgasm are not the same. And that's such an important distinction, because so many people, let's just say guys, they think of squirting as just like this trophy that they can put on their wall. Like, I made her squirt and that means I'm awesome. And it's like, no, pumpkin. Some women will squirt no matter what you do. Some women will not squirt no matter what you do. True. So like, let's not hang your ego on that.
No, but I think to your point, a lot of guys think it's good. Like, okay, I'll bring it to orgasm, but then it's going to go beyond that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's when they squirt. They have to get beyond, they have to do like beyond the orgasm.
Orgasm plus.
Yeah.
And I have squirted pre-orgasm. I've squirted in the absence of orgasm. Like, those two things are entirely separate processes for me.
Wow.
So as a high schooler, being squirted on freaked me out because I knew nothing about it.
You thought you were getting peed on.
I thought I was getting peed on. And I'm like, this chick's peeing all over me. And for years, I would be like, why didn't you ever go up? She peed on me. Had I known what I know now, I'd be like, we'd be married. No, just kidding.
I love your slight humble brag there. He's like, I'm going to phrase this as like a invulnerable thing. But when I was in high school and I made that chick squirt,
but I didn't know forever.
Except it's not a brag. Maybe she's just a squirter and
Well,
she would have done it kind of regardless.
Ashley,
I agree with that 100%.
You can say that a million times. Us guys make somebody squirt. We're still putting that fucking trophy on our shelf.
I know. I'll tell you what though. My Canadian daddy and I were just in Jamaica with Naughty Jim, and while I was sleeping, we have consented to sleep play, to be clear.
Me and my wife
he was
as well.
like very gently playing with my pussy and apparently making me squirt in my sleep. So like you don't even have to be conscious. Like,
wow.
I don't know if I like this or hate. I feel like such a failure.
well, let's just say that there are other ways to drive value and self-esteem than how you make your partner's body react.
Yeah.
Because am I right? I think you kind of mentioned, not everyone can squirt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like you can do something and make every woman squirt. You can't. Right.
You really can't. I didn't squirt for a very long time. Like most of my life. If I did, it was like maybe like a little dribble, like a drop or two. Now it's a fucking gush. I have no idea what changed actually I know what changed, but it's
a Canadian daddy.
Canadian daddy was the first one to really seem to crack the code, but I had a series of procedures done right before I met him that were like non-invasive, nothing like crazy with needles or anything, but it was a sound wave treatment on my pussy that called Cleovana, and it's supposed to like help regenerate nerves and make the tissue more responsive. And I had a series of 4 treatments, and after that, I started squirting a lot. So, I mean, correlation doesn't imply causation.
Write that down.
Yeah, they do it at med spas. It's really cool. It's not like anything you have to be sedated for. There's no pain whatsoever. And like, I am very sensitive in my genitals. I get waxed. It hurts. This was not a painful procedure. It was just like, you could feel like vibration and tapping, and there was a suction thing on your clit, and that was it.
Well, I could do that.
Right?
I can open a clinic.
I was going to say, you could become a practitioner. Wait, is somebody tapping on you? Is this
everything she said? I'm like, I can do that.
Do that.
That's what we should. Let's open a pussy spa.
A spa.
Yeah. We'll be practitioners of all things pussy.
Yeah. And then we'll starve to death.
All right.
Aw.
No.
Are we?
I'll be able to eat ramen.
So what do we? Where do we go from squirting? You got more questions for squirting?
No, I want to talk about the life-changing hand jobs, because
we need to
again
before we got into hand jobs.
Again, all us guys are going to plant our flag on the trophy for squirting, and we're also going to plant our flag on you can't give me a hand job that's life-changing.
Than the one that I give myself. Yeah, yeah. I've been jerking it since I could reach it. Yeah, yeah. I've heard it all.
Yes.
Okay, here's the thing.
So bring it on. Yes.
Okay, here's what I got. When you are stroking yourself, are you using one hand or two?
I do one, of course.
One. Okay.
Yeah.
I use two.
I mean, because two, you can't. Where are you going to go with it? When the one hand covers the whole thing, where do you go?
The balls and behind it.
Oh, okay.
I use lube. I also do it for pleasure, not speed. When most guys jerk off, it's because you are trying to get off as quickly as possible, right? Like you just want to rub one out before work, when you're stressed, before you go to bed, whatever.
No, not really. Sometimes I put a candle and draw a bath, and hours later, I'm still.
Yeah. You're still just stroking away? Yeah, I don't think so.
You know what? Part of me believes that. I do believe it a little bit.
Listen, for those out there who are like, actually, I do that. Good for fucking you.
Right.
That's awesome. I love that for you. Because that is really, I think, what we all should do when it comes to self-pleasure practices. But
that's true.
Romance yourself.
I treat it as an all-over genital massage. So it's not just stroking up and down. It is taking my hands. It's rubbing up the crease between your thighs and your pelvis. It's going behind your balls and massaging your perineum. It's playing with the balls. It's putting a hand on the pubic mound. It is doing all sorts of different techniques, because often I find with guys jerking off, you do the same thing. You've jerked it the same way. You have like two 3 fingers or like a hand thing, but you know exactly where to put it. Like
we know what we like.
We're efficient, right? Like
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
just keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I come in with like 20 different possible techniques to see which one feels the best to you. And plus, you know, again, you have another person who's making eye contact, who is loving what I'm doing. There is nothing that substitutes the raw enthusiasm for helping to pleasure your partner. Like that is intoxicating to watch somebody's eyes light up and their smile dance across their face as they're like playing with your junk, right?
Yeah.
I get it.
So
and if you go to Be Better at Being Bad week
Yes.
for Naughty Gym, you will get to see me give one of my life-changing hand jobs in a live demo situation because Canadian Daddy's coming back next year. And
wait, so
you don't get volunteers for the class?
I prefer known quantities.
Okay. Makes sense.
so
Because he
okay.
managed to hold on that whole 60-minute class without coming. And that is no small feat considering
boy.
how talented I am. So it's an advanced skill.
Yeah,
It is. So why of all the things did you focus on hand jobs as opposed to blow jobs, or I'm trying to think of it's like a certain position or something like that?
Well, a couple of reasons. One, every sex educator and their brother teaches blowjob classes. All of them.
Yeah.
It's just kind of our bread and butter as sex educators because everybody loves blowjob classes. When I used to do, you know, bachelorette parties in Beverly Hills, all they wanted was blowjob classes.
Well, I mean,
so
yeah, you're right.
I like doing something that's different than what everyone else does. It's just kind of the rebel in me. But more personally, I don't like cum in my mouth.
Okay.
So I needed to find a way to make you feel really good, so good that you would forget that I'm not going to blow you.
Well, that's the key. Forget you're not going to blow, because as you were describing your hand job, I'm like, I was going to ask, but I was going to wait to get to this next question to say, is that any times do you lick? Do you do a
you
little
absolutely
tease?
can if you're someone who's not me.
Right. Okay.
I will suck balls. I will suck balls all day long because cum doesn't come out of them directly.
Okay.
So that's fine. But I just cum in my mouth literally makes me gag. And I don't ever want someone to see my face like gagging and internalize that because I just have a really intense cum aversion. So I just kind of skip it altogether.
So let's just go back to your daddy. 30 minutes or 60 minutes, right? Couldn't 30 minutes of that been blowjob and then hand job to finish it? Or I mean, on your end?
I mean,
I
don't know anybody who can give a blowjob for 30 minutes. Your jaw gets sore. Yo, like that's the other thing that I like about hand jobs is that the stamina.
Not something he has to worry about.
Forget the time. Yeah. I guess you know your partner and it takes whatever, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, but
sure.
The beginning of it. But does that even just starting with a blowjob not in your wheelhouse?
For me, especially with Canadian Daddy, because he's uncircumcised, he pre-comes a lot. So it's not like he only comes when he ejaculates. It's wet the whole time. So I'm just like, I gotta kind of skip that area a little bit. Now I have had partners that are circumcised that aren't as heavy pre-cummers, but even they like the cock gets wet. It
cocks
leaks. And pussies are the same in that way. Like they get wet, they get erections. And so I don't even want the little dribbles. I'm like, ugh, can't do it. I can taste it. As soon as it gets into my mouth, I'm like, so I just maintain a respectful distance, suck 100%. On the balls and dazzle them with my hands. And honest to God, I have had over 100 partners in my life now. Just hit 100 in Jamaica. And I think maybe only one of them has ever complained about not getting a blowjob.
Yeah, I would never complain.
Well, complain is that's a strong word. I'm not saying to complain.
No.
But, in knowing me, to say I would be with a partner who would never give me a blowjob again, that would be the hand job would have to be amazing. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
as advertised.
and we were talking pre-show was, could it replace? In my head, as I just said, well, no, but I don't know that because I haven't had the techniques blowjob that you've had.
Life-changing
Life
hand
changing.
job. I have had partners in the last couple of weeks message me and be like, I can't stop fantasizing about the hand jobs that you gave me.
Nice.
Like,
and you teach these hand jobs.
I
Let's promote this because
Hell yeah.
that's part of the reason you're here. So
Yeah.
you teach these classes to women and men who want to learn how to give better hand jobs. So
I do.
when are you doing one? Where do you find them? And
So I have a
Where can he
pre-recorded
sign
one.
up for me?
I have a pre-recorded one, the
Oh.
life-changing hand jobs one that I taught at the end of January that there's a link in my bio on Instagram. You can also find it on my website. And then I am going to be actually going to Toronto to visit Canadian Daddy in a couple weeks. And he has agreed to film a live demo hand job class with me.
He's such a good guy to be
He's
able
really
to
a
do all
good
this.
sport.
so sweet.
I will be your guinea pig for anything when you're touching my junk.
What if live he busts a nut in like 5 minutes? He's just like,
He can keep going.
Yeah.
He can absolutely keep going.
Okay. All right.
Because
Okay.
like we have lengthy FaceTime calls with each other because we're so far away. And it is not unusual for him to come 3 or 4 times in the span of a couple hours.
Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
What is he, 15?
He's 45.
You. I don't like him.
If you're having a FaceTime 3-hour session, yeah. Oof, I would expect a few of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's also very good friends with his prostate. So some of those are prostate orgasms, which is super rad. Like he and I are both insatiable hedonists. And that's one of the many reasons why we love each other so much.
That helps. Yes, that definitely helps.
And this is personal. You don't have to tell me that. But when we talk about the anal before and you're giving your givers, I didn't know if you meant like when you're teaching it or that you were putting a strap on to peg. Is that in
Both.
your... Both? Okay.
Yes. I peg, I finger, I fist, I do anything related to anal and prostate stimulation, and I am very good at it.
Well,
wait, let me see your fist ones.
I don't doubt for a minute.
So one of my other lovers literally wrote the book on prostate stimulation. Charlie Glickman wrote The Ultimate Guide to Prostate Pleasure, and I was taught very well how to wield a strap on, how to stimulate the prostate, and it's so much fun. And I fisted my first ass at a clown orgy at AVN in Vegas in 2018.
What do you mean by clown? Are you dressed as clowns?
I was not dressed as a clown. I was just in a latex outfit, but there were people dressed as clowns at the orgy, and there were also lots of like latex balloons kind of around.
That's phenomenal.
The suite. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Wait, can you just give the title of it one more time? What was it?
A clown orgy at AVN in Vegas.
Okay. A clown orgy.
Oh no, Jay.
Oh man,
the beauty of us talking with yourself and a lot of others is just we learn so much, and it's and I love that we're putting it out there for everyone to learn along with us.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think it helps to give people ideas of what's possible because we get very stuck in like our routinized, tab A, slot B kind of sexual experiences. And especially what we see in mainstream porn is a very narrow lens of what's sexually possible. So I think, understanding kink and non-monogamy and role play is such an expansive way to approach pleasure.
Yeah.
So, and it's not that different than, you hear about like Furby orgies, things like that.
Sure.
Same, but yeah, the clowns. It's a different visual because of the nose and the shoes. So that's all I'm going to say.
It's not my particular kink, but I was not going to turn down the opportunity to attend one. Like,
right.
It's not.
Oh, that's going in the memoir. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yes. And I will, for 100%, please don't, I'm not,
no, we do not
judging it at all.
No,
that's my visual. And of course, to me, it doesn't turn me on, but 100%, if that turns somebody else on,
fully
more
respect.
power to you. Have as many clown orgies as you want, because that's your turn on. That's what you should pursue. 100%.
Absolutely.
I fully believe that. So
yes.
No, I'm not judging it. I just, even hearing it,
whatever makes you happy, as long as it ain't
100%. 100%.
Exactly.
As long as it make you happy.
I mean, this is illegal in Wisconsin. It makes me happy, so I'm going to keep doing it. But
As long as you're consenting adults.
Right. That's that all of that good stuff.
More importantly than anything else. Legality.
Yes. We do not judge at
don't
all.
break the laws.
we don't want to break laws. No. But we cannot continue on without at least giving you some shout outs because you won an award.
I did.
From
Sexpert of the Year.
Expert XBit.
XBiz.
XBiz.
Biz. I always say that wrong. Sexpert of the Year. Oh, let's see that again. Let's show that. That's amazing. Look at that, an award.
Look at that.
You should be very proud of that. And
I am very proud. It was a really incredible honor to
congratulations.
be recognized in that way.
For
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you. That was 2020. It was like one of the last events I went to before the world shut down.
Right. Yeah.
Were you at the award show?
I was at the award show, although funny story,
yes.
I got super anxious. I was convinced that I wasn't going to win. And I was really like edgy and nervous. And I kind of freaked out and I left early. I left before they announced my award. My publicist called me in the car on the way home and was like, they just fucking announced your name, you asshole. I was like,
oh no.
Oh my God. I lost my shit. It was not my finest hour, but like that's real, you know, like sometimes you get really anxious and social anxiety and the pressure. And it's just like, it was my third year in a row being nominated. And I just got this like, there's such amazing other people nominated. I'm not going to get it. I thought I was going to get it last year after my magazine cover and that didn't happen. So I don't think I'm going to get it. And I can't like bear to not get it again and like have to sit through that. So I left and I was wrong.
So you didn't get to go up.
I didn't get to go.
Oh, I wanted to hear your feelings on
right?
that.
I was very gentle with myself. I definitely cried a lot at first, but
you should cry to joy. Yeah, absolutely.
My ex was like, "Listen, it's fine. You know, here's a shampoo bottle. Like, give me your speech, and let's like have that moment. Post your speech online. Okay. Like, it's fine." I was like, "Okay."
Forgive me when you talk about things, when you're talking about fisting asses, and you said he gave me a shampoo bottle. I'm like, what was it? Wait, what was the shampoo bottle? But it was a fake trophy.
It was a fake trophy.
Yeah, I got it now. It just took me a second.
It was very creative.
I was thinking it was like a fake microphone but regardless.
I mean, that too.
Nice for him to, I mean, that's a nice gesture for him to just say, here you are.
Very sweet.
That was very sweet. That's nice.
There were a lot of fucked up things about that relationship, but he had a few shining moments, and that one I really appreciated.
Okay, well, that's the only one we'll give him credit for because that I've heard of. Well, either way, it's a great moment. You know, show it off, all that good stuff. Yeah. I love it. Have you been to the awards since they brought it back?
Have I been to the awards since? Yes, I was. So I've been nominated every year for the last 7 years. Even after I won, I kept getting nominated, which was really cool. So Canadian Daddy actually flew out last year. It was only like a month and a half after we met. He came out to California for 10 days and he was my arm candy to the awards last year.
Nice.
Which was so much fun. We had a blast. And I didn't actually make it to the awards this year because I was in Jamaica with him. Mm-hmm. But the winners this year were April and Amy from the Shameless Sex podcast. And I could not be more thrilled that they won because they really deserve it. They just published a book this year and just are like killing it in the field. So it's always wonderful to celebrate whoever wins.
Yeah, for sure.
Agreed. But let's go back to when you are there. How are the parties like? How is it celebrating and the people you mingle with? I mean, that just must be amazing to just look around and see all these people that.
You know, we can get a press pass, right?
You can absolutely get a press pass. And the XBiz Awards are a lot of fun. They bring together, you know, some of the best and brightest the industry has to offer, from adult performers to people who own companies to like sales reps and retailers. It's a really cool group of humans who are really passionate about making people's lives more pleasurable.
Yeah. And you talk about judgment-free zones. That's where you want to be, because there's
1,000%.
Yeah. Yeah, we could. I mean, we literally, I think you'd have to apply for something, but we could go and set up shop and interview away. Party away.
We have joked about planning that, or and
it's all a business write-off. It's beautiful.
That one's in California. We talked, I think we talked about the VMAs in Vegas as a joke, but
Oh yeah, go to AVN. It's a whole experience.
Have you been there?
I have been to AVN a few times. The last time I went, I got to see Cardi B perform, which was really rad. And it was a really great time. They always have cool like musical guests, and it's a star-studded. I mean, Robin Leach used to do the red carpet at the AVN, so like
that's right.
It is really a star-spangled event.
Yeah.
So much fun. And you had mentioned on the cover, so you were on the Sexual Health magazine cover.
I was.
And you were deemed America's high princess of pleasure.
Priestess.
Pleasure.
Just, I mean, look, I fuck everything up, so just don't worry about it. I apologize.
That's why we don't let him introduce any guests.
I fuck things up, but we get to the results we've done.
All
so
good.
What a great title.
Thank you. That was such an honor. Like being on the cover of Sexual Health magazine was like, wow, holy fuck. And the photo shoot that we did was down in Newport Beach, and on the cover, I'm actually holding an ounce of weed in my hands, which was just like such a fun experience. And Ariana Rodriguez, who is one of the editors, interviewed me, and it was one of the proudest moments of my career for sure.
As it should be. Yeah.
That's awesome.
On the magazine. And how fun is it to just be interviewed and asked, like we are today, things you're expert at? We want to know what you know.
Really good. I've had some really fantastic media opportunities that I'm wildly grateful for, from Playboy to Forbes to Huffington Post to the London Times. Like it's been very unexpected. I never imagined that Sex and Cannabis was going to take me to all of these places, but I could not be more grateful.
Well, I think that you picked two of people's most favorite things and put them together. So, so now you've got a class coming up on the Pussy Whisperer, teaching men and women how to do what with the pussy? Is it
how to massage the pussy?
Okay.
I'm sure I will dabble a little bit into mouth techniques, but this is primarily a hand techniques class.
Okay.
Which makes sense for you because you're an expert in
right?
hands.
Hands are kind of my jam. And I'm out in the world, right? Like Canadian Daddy and I have an open relationship. So I'm also on the apps going on Tinder dates, and I'm seeing a lot of this shit, which is just kind of offensive.
How do you just cringe when you see all that?
I do. I just tap. I'm like, stop.
Have you shut off a date like at that point when they were just like, have you been like, okay, I know the rest of this isn't going to be good anyway, so
and you're not. Can you? Well, in addition to his, you feel any of them are like at that early stage they're just unteachable?
I don't think. Very few people are unteachable, and I try to assume ignorance, not malice.
Okay, good for you.
Okay, so I will give them a chance and be like, hey, that's not working for me. I am going to show you how my pussy likes to be touched, and I would really like it if you would watch very closely and then do what I do. Can you do that? And if they're like, no, I know how to play with a pussy, then I'm like, all right, hit the road, Jack.
There you go. That's it.
Right? But if they're like, oh yeah, please teach me, Yoda, like I would love to know exactly how to make you feel good, then I'm like, okay, now we can talk.
So I think the other thing with what you just said is, as guys, or going with other women, not enough of them are comfortable enough to say that. And I don't know about a lot of people out there, but I prefer that. I would love that. And that's it. It is a turn on to be, no.
Guided.
I think I know what I'm doing. I'll do what I think I know is best. But if the girl just stops me and says, or just makes my hand and says, this is what I like, nothing's better. Nothing's better because I know I'm doing what she wants.
It's so helpful. I mean, universally, I would just say slow down.
Yeah,
sure.
What I see a ton of, even if they are like focusing on the clit rather than the finger banging thing, which I hate, I get a lot of this kind of like frenetic mosquito itching kind of technique thing. And like, I understand that from a penis perspective, right? Like as you get closer, you tend to speed up because it feels better as you get closer to speed up. Yeah. That is not the case for us. You need to keep a fucking tempo consistently.
Yeah.
White
and
boys
don't
ain't got
speed
no
up,
rhythm, Ashley.
Right? Like, I hear you. Why I tend to fuck musicians. But like
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
Right? Like listen to the music, whatever you got to do, count. I don't give a shit, but like keep a goddamn tempo. And don't, if I tell you I'm getting close, don't start doing something else.
Different,
Just
right.
Keep doing what you're doing.
I think that's another misconception with guys is they're like, oh, I'm close. And then you're like, well, then I better ramp this shit up.
Ramp it up. I'm like, stop.
No.
And
That's
now
why I break
I'm
up my
far
superpowers.
away. Like,
No, I'm telling you to just,
Yeah.
because I want to know.
And I'm the same way as you are. I love to be guided. But I do know that male ego is easily fractured. And a lot of guys take, they take it the wrong way when they're told, hey, do it this way instead. So I understand why some women, unfortunately there are women out there that don't want to guide because they're afraid of the repercussions, and it sucks.
that does suck, but it's a data point. And if this person's ego is so fragile that they can't take like literal cheat codes from the person whose body it is, maybe, must be this emotionally mature to ride. Like,
yeah.
Right.
So are there any classes that you teach about that for women that open up to tell your partners right away?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
so the class that I'm actually teaching right now, it's a 5-week intensive called Activating Your Cosmic Pussy.
I love your names.
I know. They're pretty amazing. Those are usually the ones that
don't want to toot my own horn, but
yes. Not, as my best friend says, not to toot my own twat, but
I missed it. Even better.
Even better. So Activating Your Cosmic Pussy is all about sexual empowerment, sex magic, owning your power and your pleasure. And part of that is speaking up. And so we talk about, what's getting in the way of you saying, that's not working for me. I need something different. This is what I like. And a lot of it, again, hippie shit. It's throat chakra. It's being shut down. It's being silenced your whole life. It is being taught to experience pleasure quickly and silently. It is being shamed for having preferences and boundaries. And so a lot of the work that I do with these women is helping to heal some of that and release the kind of toxic hold that society has on women's voices so that they feel stronger and able to advocate for themselves.
Yeah.
And if they're the partner's not receptive, to just say, all right, we're over.
Next.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
I have had multiple women leave fiancés, spouses after this workshop. And I'm not going to take full credit for that, but I like to think that, having somebody tell you that you deserve better can be a really powerful catalyst for change.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. And, it's not just all sexual. It's there's probably other issues, but that
of course
was a tipping point.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to, I hate it, sex is a big part, and everybody, and sometimes you hear that, it's all about sex. No, it's not, but it brings us closer.
It does. Yeah.
And I really, and it is a big part of growing together.
Absolutely.
So does the Cosmic Pussy class also, as you're teaching them to open up? My wife has issues with dirty talk. She doesn't want to dirty talk. Is there part of that in there as well, and trying to get them to open up and free the reins a little bit on that?
Yep. I have them practice just vocalizing when they masturbate, because that I think is a really important first step. If you don't know how to make noise when things feel good, you're a far cry from dirty talk. Like if you can start to go, oh yes, oh my gosh, like that we can build on. But if you can't even get that out, then we've got some more work to do. So once that starts happening, then it's like, all right, can you narrate what's going on in your body? Don't worry about sounding like a phone sex operator. Just talk in your normal voice. It feels really good when you do that. I like the way you're touching me right now.
Yep.
Wow, my pussy is so wet. Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to come. Like it can be that simple. And then if you want to like kind of create a character for yourself, if you want to embody a sensual, goddess, if you want to kind of attach yourself to an archetype or put on a wig or do your makeup differently and like take on a persona, like I just can't wait to feel your cock slide inside me. Like, cool, do that. But like, that's not everybody's from the go.
There's a clip right there. Just kidding.
That's fine.
But I just keep thinking the only times I've had to deal with erection issues during the podcast is you and Susan Bratt. So
I also have an OnlyFans. I'm just saying.
There's definitely something about sex educators and your freeness and
The freedom of it. Yeah.
your willingness to speak to anything that just is so refreshing. And the nice thing about it is, even with YouTube, we just can click the educational button on this, and they have to let it be.
I love that.
I mean, the one guy nares his asshole, and we see his asshole and his balls and everything, and it's an educational video, so it's out there.
It's out there.
Damn.
So if they try to fuck with this,
it's all educational, which 100% it is. I mean, really, it is.
It is.
Regardless of how much of a turn it on it is. But
and I mean, we're having fun with it, but we're still learning.
But so before we lose sight of it, let's promote your OnlyFans, because that's
Yes.
Why not touch
Why
on
not?
that? It's something you do. And what is it, a different name or the same name? How do they reach it?
I do everything under my own name. It's just I've owned that I will never work for corporate America. It's just the way it is. It's fine.
You don't seem like a woman trying to hide your identity at this point.
No. I meant, like, sometimes it's they got to tweak it because it's taken already or something.
Oh no, it's just Ashley Manta on OnlyFans, and I created it because I have so many thirsty humans, mostly guys, but not exclusively, sliding into my DMs on Instagram that are like, I want to fuck you, I want to see you naked, I want to see your tits, I want to blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, you're probably not going to get to fuck me, but you can absolutely see my tits, you can watch me fuck other people, pop on over, like, throw me some money, and everybody's happy. I also have an account with a company called Sext Panther.
Yeah, that I want to talk about, because I'm not
phone
sure.
sex and dirty talk with me and exchange pictures. And so OnlyFans is like a subscription model, right? So you pay like $9.99 a month, whereas with Sext Panther, you just pay per message.
Oh,
okay.
So you get messages from me for free. It costs you to send me a message, to send me a picture, to receive pictures or videos or audio notes from me, but you can completely customize what you want. And it's just you and I talking one-on-one, which is a really cool way to like I've got one person who wants me to describe him being wrestling a snake and like being suffocated by the coils. Okay. I'm not here to judge. I have somebody else who's like, oh my God, all I want to hear is about how like you would stroke my cock if you were giving me one of your life-changing hand jobs. I'm like, cool, I can do that. No worries.
Yep, that's me.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. Well, you're giving yourself a hand job, but that's the best you can do right now.
Yeah.
I do also like how, I don't know if everybody noticed, but when she said, you're probably not going to get to fuck me about the OnlyFans thing. So you're saying there's a chance.
I mean, I can't say that I've never hooked up with somebody who followed me on Instagram, but there was like that was a really special circumstance where we knew people in common, and he was also like kind of a big deal influencer that I had already had professional respect for. So like it wasn't just like somebody randomly.
Yeah, right.
It goes back to you. Yeah, you'll decide when it's right for you.
I'm picky as fuck, dude. Like I don't have time for bad sex in my life.
That's a good point.
I gamble every time I'm on dating apps. Like at this point, I have a pretty solid pleasure portfolio between Canadian Daddy. I've got 2 lovers in LA. I've got 1 in San Francisco, and I've got like 1 more like regular slot available. And after that, I'm pretty much saturated.
Now I gotta
until one of them departs, but obviously you're all wide open relationship.
Right.
That's where you're at. So how do you, on your dating app, how do you present yourself? How do you describe how I'm not ready for bullshit to a point, and here I'm at?
Tricky, honestly, because like if I say I'm a sex educator, then they take that as license to just immediately start wanting to talk about sex. And I'm not a prude, but I also expect you to be respectful and like get to know me as a human, besides just like what you'd like to do to my body. So that gets challenging. And honestly, I have I've deleted almost all the dating apps on my phone at this point, just because like it's such a headache separating the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
It's easier to meet people in person, because then I can get like kind of an energetic read off of them, see how the chemistry feels. So whether it's, going to play parties or events or polyamory meetups. I'm about to move to Santa Cruz, and I know they have a really cool community, like sex positive, non-monogamy community, kink community there. So looking forward to doing more in person, because eventually I would like to find someone to like have a day-to-day life with. All my partners are long distance.
Yeah.
A lot of them have other partners, like some have primary partners, and I just want somebody to kind of come home to sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I was
Absolutely.
gonna touch on that about at what point do you want to have that, which we've which with April, that situation where they
Right.
can be a married couple, continue in life and expand and still enjoy like you are.
Absolutely. And I want that. I don't want children. So that makes it easier. I'm not on like a time crunch where it's like, oh my God, I'm 37. I don't have kids yet. Like, I don't care. I don't want them. When somebody says they have a vasectomy, that is a pickup line. Like,
perfect.
So I'm not time bound, but it's just a matter of like finding someone that really adds to my life and that can hang with me having multiple partners that I like really care deeply for.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of is the number one thing, isn't it? That it's not like you're going to meet someone. I mean, maybe you will. You never know. Never say never, right? You may meet someone.
Never say never, but I would be very surprised.
Well, agreed. And I was going with that. Yeah. But
mostly because I think it's really hard for one person to meet all of our needs. Like, even from just a sexual perspective, I have different, sometimes conflicting sexual interests. I like daddy girl role play, but I also like being, the kind of dommy evil queen sex goddess. Those two are not super compatible with each other. So it's nice to have a partner for one and a partner for the other. It's nice to have a partner that likes to travel, and then another partner who's like a big foodie, who's not like gluten-free, dairy-free, all the things, someone who likes the beach. Like,
they're freaks.
It's a lot to kind of expect one person to fulfill. And so I think, I don't think there's anything wrong with the monogamy if you're choosing it, but I think it's hard.
Yeah, it is.
It could be hard to find one. That's why probably the divorce rate is so high.
I was just going to say, I mean, it's
staggeringly high.
Yeah, it's like you said, statistically, I don't know what we were talking about before, but statistically proven, being monogamous is hard. It's why 60+% of marriages end in divorce. So,
right.
I mean,
so do you any of your partners women? Do you dabble in women or at all?
I absolutely am an equal opportunity slut. I don't have any regular partners at the moment who are women, but I have played with many women, non-binary, trans folks in my life. I love that. I've been kind of jonesing for a little bit more queer sex in my life because queer sex is very, very different than sex with a man. So I like the soft lips. I like the non-penis focused interactions. I like, I don't know. For some reason, I always feel a lot more comfortable in my body when I'm with queer people. I feel like, and that could be my own thing, but like, I feel like queer people tend to be a lot more body positive than the average heterosexual man.
Okay.
I don't disagree with that at all, unfortunately.
Right.
I have to ask, with all due respect, because we were just talking respect, have you fulfilled your airtight fantasy?
Not yet.
Okay. I saw you talking about it, and I just wanted to know.
Wait, can we tell? I mean, not for me. Everybody else that doesn't know what you're talking about.
Wait, you don't know what airtight is? Come on, you prude.
I have a fantasy of having a dick in my mouth, a dick in my ass, and a dick in my pussy, which I realize violates my blowjob rule, but like for that experience, I will deal with it.
Yeah.
Even if it's only for a couple minminutes.
I was gonna say, it doesn't have to last long.
It doesn't have to be forever.
Yeah. I knew that. My mind was somewhere completely different with airtight. Anyways. Okay. All right.
It's coming.
Like it's
coming.
I have a feeling
that you would have no problem doing it tomorrow if you wanted to. It's just the getting over the.
Well, it's also like I already have two of the lovers slated for it, and they are both enormously thick. So I'm like, I can't have either of you in my ass. So I need to find somebody who's a little bit more
step up, buddy.
Reasonable.
You won't even know I'm there. Won't even know I'm there.
Both of them are 6.5 inches around.
Oh, Jesus.
Which is like, thoughts and prayers for my fucking genitals.
Jesus.
Well, no wonder you need suppositories of the CBD oil.
I need them. It's really like I have to train for this. So until my ass can accommodate something that substantial, I need to find somebody who's a little bit more manageable, which is why like I am not a size queen. I think there is a role for every penis size. Like it's all good, and some, especially on the like less thick side, are so great for anal. That's fantastic.
Right.
Like,
right.
built for that.
Well, and we had a guest that said this is my anal king because he's built for it. His penis
totally
was built for it.
Susan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also mark your calendars for my 40th birthday in 2026. I'm going to go to Hedonism and I want to have a 40-person either orgy or gangbang. I haven't decided yet, but I want 40 people to fuck me at Hedonism in April of 2026. So I'm just
Write it
saying.
down on the calendar.
Write it down.
Fantasies coming true.
Speaking of hedonism, before we let you go,
Yes.
you're going back next year, I assume?
I am
With
going back
April
next
and
year
Scott.
with April and Scott. Canadian Daddy is slated to also come back, which
And
I'm
what
performer?
stoked about.
Other than the hand job class, what else other kind of things did you teach down there when you were down there?
I
Not
taught
the
dirty
blowjob
talk.
class.
Not the blowjob class. I taught dirty talk. That was one of my first workshops there.
Nice.
And I did a keynote on sex and altered states, so cannabis and psychedelics.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I co-taught a butt stuff class with Luna Matatas, who is a phenomenal educator, actually based in Toronto. And so we both did live demos, and Canadian Daddy also volunteered his ass for that one, which was very cool.
I'd like to meet him. He's just a
Yeah, does he do podcasts?
he's just a good dude.
I think he would do a podcast if I asked him to. He's pretty down, and he's all over my OnlyFans, and we're talking about doing this like live demo hand job class, and he's
Nice.
Get him on the podcast. He'd be like, "So when do I get fucked? What's going on? Wait, you want to just talk to me? That's what? No."
You said you don't have time for bad sex. He doesn't have time for bad podcasts. I'm guessing so.
He is one of the most charming and charismatic humans I have ever met. He's a sales guy, so like he could sell ice to Eskimos.
Perfect. Well, that's a draw, obviously, right?
Yeah, he's charming as fuck.
All right, so now what?
And a 6.5-inch cock
Around.
Around.
Right.
Yeah, around.
And if your other part
also like legitimately gorgeous. He's 6 feet tall, great smile, gorgeous eyes, great body. Like he's just.
You've actually looked at his face?
Look at him. No, look at her mouth.
I get a little.
Look at her getting heated up. So I was thinking, I mean, what you're saying before, you're
I
both
think she just got an erection as well.
I did. I got to get off the podcast soon because he and I are supposed to have a FaceTime date. So like,
let's go.
That's fine. I only have one more question I want to ask you, and
I want one more too. Go.
And I know this answer is different for everybody. I fully understand that. But what are your favorite strains of weed for sexual activity?
Good one.
Okay, so here's the deal. Strains are a really difficult thing to go by. It's why, like you said, it's different for everybody.
Right.
But even for me, it depends on how I'm feeling on a given day, what kind of sex I want to be having, and what I have access to. Like,
Sure.
I have friends who grow, so I can predict that like one grow to the next grow, like one harvest to the next is going to be pretty consistent because I know that they are controlling those variables.
Yeah.
But if I'm like, oh, I like, Jack Herrera, the one that I get from this random dispensary might be different from this other dispensary or another one in a different state. Like there's so much variability that you really just kind of have to try whatever it is that you have, see how that works, and then decide if that's what you want to use on that particular day.
Cool.
That said, if you're in California and you can get a hold of Glasshouse Farms Lilac Diesel, that is my fucking favorite. But your mileage may totally vary. You might hate it, and that is completely fine. I just happen to really love it. It's very stimulating. I love the way it smells. I love the way it tastes. It's really high in terpinolene, which is one of my favorite terpenes. And it's great.
Awesome.
Before we let you go, I just want to touch on that you had Nina Hartley.
Oh,
yes.
It was quite a while ago. I saw that and I perked up. Not gonna lie. Jacked off to her a lot of times in my youth. Not gonna lie. There's a lot of them. She had the ass of all asses before it was a thing. Mm-hmm. So how did you get hooked up with her, and how can you get us hooked up with her?
You selfish son of a.
I'm a selfish because I would love to talk to her because she when porn kind of was later on in her life, I don't know her life that much, but she was focusing on blowjobs. But you got her into the hand job thing, which is great. But
she was a hand job queen before she ever met me, for sure.
Okay.
I would take zero credit. That would be entirely full of hubris to do that. No, Nina is a legend.
So I skipped her hand job when I just went to her blow. Okay, I got it.
She definitely does hand job classes. she was a hero of mine before I ever met her. Like,
Yeah.
she was doing those instructional classes
Right.
when I was watching them on like Cinemax when I was in high school. And when I moved to California is when I got to meet her, and we just totally hit it off. She happens to like blondes with dimples and big boobs. So we
I got
became
dimples,
fast
no
friends.
boobs.
She and I actually did shoot a porn scene together. My first and only porn was with Nina Hartley.
Congratulations. That's amazing
Thank you.
to be able to say that. Really is.
It was epic, and
I mean,
fucking her is a dream.
Ugh.
She's unbelievably talented. She is the kindest, warmest, most thoughtful human you could ever meet. I have been lucky to spend birthdays with her. She's really just a spectacular, wonderful person.
She's an icon of the 80s porn. She's
a total
really
icon.
Is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna reach out to her. And if you could put a good word in, we'd love to have her on the podcast, because
I can barely get a hold of her these days. Honestly, she is a busy, busy lady, but by all means, reach out to her and see if you can snag her, because she's
we're going to drop name you. I'm not going to lie. We're going to
such great things to say.
Yeah, that was the bottom line. I mean, the jacking off to her is just secondary, but she going into her, she realized later in life that these instrumental videos that she put out on blowjobs and sex and stuff nobody else was doing it at the time.
Oh, absolutely. So true story. She is my dad's favorite porn star. So my dad came to AVN with me in 2019, and I got to introduce him to her. And I'm pretty sure that was like the highlight of his life.
100%.
When you can introduce your dad to his favorite porn star, you know you've made it.
100%.
I feel really good about
you don't
Father's Day pretty much forever.
Never again. Never another.
I'm good. I got that.
All right. We'll let you go so you can enjoy your FaceTime day.
Thank you so much.
But I'm going to ask you already, will you come back at some point and talk psychedelics with us?
I would love to.
Because I would love to do an episode more dedicated to psychedelics. I'm new to the psychedelic game. I've used mushrooms a handful of times. And I would really like to talk more about it. So this has been an absolute pleasure.
It is.
Likewise. No, this is super fun to chat with you guys.
Plug anything and anywhere anyone can see you. Go.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can follow me on Instagram at CannaSexual. You can visit my website, CannaSexual.com. I have online courses that you can find at ElevatedIntimacy.com. And then I'm on OnlyFans and on Sex Panther under my real name. So you can just search for me that way.
Perfect.
And yeah, definitely come to my Secrets of a Pussy Whisperer class next week. It's going to be pretty fucking epic.
Nice.
Sounds like it.
Will that be available as a record? Because this won't come out in time. So will that be available as a recorded class?
You will be able to record it. I will be recording it, and you'll be able to download it for the replay. Absolutely.
Perfect. Awesome.
There.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Oh, I will.
and say hi to Canadian Daddy for us.
I absolutely will. He'll be delighted.
Right. Have fun.
Good night.
Thanks,
Good night.
guys. Bye.
Thank you for listening. The tavern is closed for now, but we'd love to have you back for more fun next time. Seriously though, get your asses out of here.